We're on page 149, and I'll continue where we left off last time. I'll repeat a little bit. Yes. In that book, it's the page that I showed you. If you want to pass it up, I'll find it.
The very beginning of it.
Yeah, it's the beginning. Katav HaRambam. We mentioned last time Rav Soloveitchik and his family's relationship with the Rambam. It's a very special one. Katav HaRambam, the Rambam says, the Perik Rishon in the first chapter of Milchot Teshuvah, of the laws of Teshuvah. Kol ha-mitzvot shebatorah. All of the mitzvot in the Torah. Ben aseh, ben lo ta'aseh. Whether the active mitzvot or the passive mitzvot. Im avar al achat mehen, if you violated one of them, ben bezadon, whether intentionally, ben b'shkaga, or unintentionally. K'shi yaseh teshuvah v'yashuv mecheto, when one does teshuvah and he returns from his wrongdoing, chayav lehidvadot lifnei ha'el baruch hu. He must confess what he did wrong in front of Hashem. It's not enough just to do teshuvah. He must come and say, I did something wrong. He must say those words. Shneimar, like it says in Bamidbar, ish o isha ki asu mikol chatat ha'adam v'yitvadu et chatotam asher asu. Ze vidui dvarim. Vidui ze mitzvat aseh. The Rambam says vidui is a positive command, an active. You must do this mitzvah. Separate from the mitzvah of teshuvah is the mitzvah of confession, of vidui. In our Siddur, what vidui would be is when we say Hashamnu, Bagandu, Gazanu. That's the modern equivalent of vidui. The Rambam continues, he says, Ketzad mitvadeh. How does one confess? I mean, what is the formula? What words do they have to say? Omer, he says, Ana Hashem. Please Hashem. Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. I did wrong in 3 different words. Lefanecha, before you. V'asiti kach v'kach. And I did, and you have to specify here, fill in the blank, what it was that I did wrong. V'harein nichamti uvoshti b'maasai l'olam eni chozer l'dvar zeh. I'm embarrassed about what I did, and I will never return to do this again. V'zeh ikaro shel vidui, and this is the main thrust of vidui. This is the bare minimum that must be done. This is vidui. Now you should know this part of uvoshti, that I'm embarrassed. Our rabbis in Masechet Berachot tell us that if a person does an avera, and they're embarrassed about it, that is already halfway of the teshuvah. A person, but that doesn't last forever. If you do an avera 4, 5, 6 times, you stop being embarrassed about it. Chachamim say that you do it na'asa lo keheter. You assume that it's okay. You do it so many times that it's okay. It's kind of like when you hear a rabbi, a teacher will say, "Oh, you can't do this." What do you mean? But everyone does it. What does that mean? What's the point of you saying everyone does it? So what if everybody does it? Half the world doesn't keep Shabbat, so now it's okay. It doesn't make it okay because everyone does something. Very often the things that we're used to, we think are okay. V'zei karo shel vidui. What does it mean this is the main part of vidui? Says Rav Soloveitchik. Now it's Rav Soloveitchik talking. Klomar, this means zehu hagarin. This is the essence. This is the seed. V'zohi hamisgeret shel vidui. And these are the parameters of vidui. Hashem, please, I did something wrong. This is what I did wrong. I'm embarrassed, and I will never do it again. This is the formula. Efshar kamuvan, it's possible, for example, l'hachivol hosiv dvarim. You're allowed to add to this. You can add in more words, add in something longer, explain more. Aval ma shelo yosif adam bevidui. No matter what a person will add to their vidui, harehu yisov tamid saviv yisodot ele. You're going to always revolve around these 3 principles. Shem shlosha. 3 principles are 1, hakarat hachet, recognizing what it is that I did wrong. Those are the words chatati, aviti, pashati. When we say them in slichot, the person should go chatati, aviti, pashati. Umasha chatati lefanecha. We say this. This is the first step, acknowledging what I did wrong. And they say denial is the first step of introducing, not denial, but admittance, admitting that I did something wrong. Confession. Bet charata. Feeling embarrassed. Nichamti boshti b'masai. I'm embarrassed about what I did. Regret. The word here is regret. If you don't regret what you did, then you're probably going to do it again. Gimel, the third step is kabbalah lehaba. Accepting not to do it again in the future. So the person keeps hitting somebody. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. They do it again. 5 minutes. Why did you say sorry to me if you didn't do it again? There's some kind of disconnect in their head. I'm sorry. Hanan does it sometimes. Like he'll push me and then I'm sorry, and then he'll push me, or he'll spill his toys. I'm sorry, and then he'll spill his toys again. Because in his head he's 2. There's no connection between I'm sorry, and I will not do it again. That's not true. I could say I'm sorry many times. In Teshuvah, it has to be first, hakarat hachet, recognizing that I did something wrong. 2, what is the second step? Regret. And the third step, taking upon myself not to do it again. You should know, Rav Soloveitchik, it sounds like what he's saying here is very simple. Rav Soloveitchik is classic Lithuanian style of study. He's taking a piece. There's a classic that everyone thinks they understand. And in a few minutes, he's going to rip it to pieces. But right now, he's setting the stage. He's just explaining to you everything that was said, things you might already know. Just hold on to your chair. These 3 motives, הם עיקרו של וידוי. They are the main principles of וידוי. והרמב"ם מוסיף, and the Rambam adds, וכל המרבה להתוודות, anybody who increases to confess, ומעריך בעניין זה, and they add, they speak longer, הרי זה משובח, he is praiseworthy. וכן בעלי חטאות והאשמות בעת שמביאים קורבנותיהם על שגגתם או על זדונם. When a person would bring their sacrifice to the Beit HaMikdash, whether it was an intentional or unintentional avera, when they would bring their sacrifice, and mitkaper lahem bekorbanam, the sacrifice does not atone for them. Ad sheyasu teshuvah, until they do teshuvah, vidvadui vidu dvarim, and they verbally do vidui, out loud. The Christians love to tell us, what do? There's no temple anymore, there are no sacrifices, how do you become atoned for? Our answer to them must, very simple. The sacrifices never atone for us. The sacrifices were meant to get us into a certain state of consciousness, according to many of our poskim. The part that atoned for us was the vidui, that prayer that we said. That prayer we still say. We didn't stop praying.
It's interesting that they replaced the animal sacrifices in a sense.
With the human sacrifice.
Replaced human sacrifice, but they brought back the human sacrifice.
Correct. Devolution. Backwards. I don't know if that's a word, but it's now.
Yeah. That's a
Mashma.
devolution.
What do we see from Rav Soloveitchik? HaKorban eino mechaper lo vidui. The korban does not atone for you without vidui. V'zohi ki yadua shitat HaRambam. This is a very obvious opinion of the Rambam. It's a famous opinion of his. Ki vidui me'akev. That vidui is the word for it is me'akev. It holds you back. It's required. Ubli vidui en teshuvah. Without vidui, you cannot do teshuvah. Afilu im machlit adam nachzor bo mechito. If a person decides, I want to stop doing my avera, and he'll change his whole life around, lo alta lo tshuvato lelo vidui. Unless he says vidui, he's not considered a full Baal Tshuva. He's changed his life. He's become a different person. But he did not confess vidui. He has not completely finished the process of tshuva. V'nimtza kaparato meukevet, and it turns out that his atonement is delayed. It's delayed until he agrees to confess. הווידוי הוא הכרחי, לא רק במחויבי קורבן. Rav Soloveitchik, the vidui is necessary not only for those who are obligated in the sacrifice, אלא, and now he's quoting again from the Rambam, וכן כל מחויבי מיתות בדין. Even if a person is obligated the death penalty, they're liable for the death penalty, they're on death row in Judaism. What it means the only way they can be atoned is if they are killed. There's no other way for them to do tshuva. ומחויבי מלכות, or those who are required to go through lashes. אין מתכפר להם במיתתם או בלקייתם. They were not atoned. The death does not atone for them. Lashes does not atone. עד שיעשו תשובה ויתוודו. Until they do tshuva and they confess. וכן החובד בחברו. A person who hurts his friend. והמזיק ממונו, or he damages his property or his money. אף על פי ששילם לו מה שהוא חייב לו, even if he pays back what he owes him, אינו מתכפר, he is not forgiven, עד שיתוודה וישוב מלעשות כזה לעולם, until he does vidui, and he agrees never to do this again. What about making up with him? Right, we have to make up with him. That part he already did. He paid him back. He made up with him. Making up with him is not enough. The person must come back and do vidui. This is a necessary part of Teshuvah. It's why we do this so many times in Yom Kippur.
So the vidui, though, doesn't negate the punishment. I mean, if someone says vidui and is on death row, or
he doesn't get off death row.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't say vidui and he's on death row, that death doesn't count for him as in the next world. He's not considered atoned for.
I understand that, but nonetheless, if he says vidui,
it doesn't get him off the hook.
It doesn't get him off the hook. Yeah.
That would be too nice.
What?
That would be too nice.
Too
That would
nice.
be too nice.
Well, we have a hard time with the death penalty,
Well, they're
but
heartfelt.
you should know that sometimes not giving the death penalty is a misplacement of mercy. There's sometimes there are people that, we don't make. We said Beit Din doesn't execute a person more than once every 70 years. It's not accurate, by the way. You should know the Beit Din is allowed to execute people against the Torah. The king can issue such an order. There are times where we're able to give a person lashes who doesn't deserve lashes according to the Torah if it's for the betterment of society. But those halachot are very iffy. They're very tricky. The Rambam is very wary of them. We could talk about them in a different class. But in this context, getting him off the hook just by saying vidui would be an injustice to the person that he murdered, to the person that it wouldn't be correct. Yesh lasim lev, says Rabbi Soloveitchik, you have to pay attention now. Lenosach havidui shebarambam, to the text, the version of the vidui in the Rambam.
Is it different than what's in our Siddur?
Yes. Chetzio, half of it, the part that says Ana Hashem, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. You've probably seen this before, but it's not in your Siddur. Where have you seen it? Half of it is copied, Me'utak, it's copied, Minosach Havidui Shel Kohen Gadol B'Yom Kippurim.
In Yom Kippur.
Very good. When the Kohen Gadol is in Yom Kippur, it says Ana Hashem, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati. This is copied from the Kohen Gadol's atonement on Yom Kippurim. V'ilu Chetzio Hashani, but the other half, I'm embarrassed, I regret it, I will never do it again. Eino mofia b'vidui shel Kohen Gadol. It's not mentioned in the vidui of the Kohen Gadol. Shebimkom zeh haya mitpalel v'omer. Instead, what the Kohen Gadol would say, Ana Hashem, please Hashem. Instead of saying, I regret it, I'll never do it again, this is what the Kohen Gadol would say. Ana Hashem, please Hashem, kaperna la'avonot u'lepshayim u'chataim she'aviti v'shepashati lefanecha. Please atone for all the things that I did wrong before you. HaRambam, we find that the Rambam Hotzit chelek hatfila. He took out the prayer part. Min havidui shel Kohen Gadol. From the vidui of the Kohen Gadol. He took out from his confession the part that is prayer. Vichnis bimkomon. He put instead. This is translated. These are transcribed from Rav Soloveitchik's English classes. So forgive this. Shnei elementim acherim. He puts in two other elements. She'inam klal b'vidui shel Kohen Gadol. That are not found at all in the Kohen Gadol's vidui. V'hem hacharata, regret. V'kabbalah lahaba, page 151, this acceptance for the future. So, whereas the Kohen says the first part, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati, An Hashem, he then goes on to pray, Hashem, please accept my... Whereas the Rambam takes out that prayer, and he puts in something that's not found by the Kohen Gadol, and he says instead, one should say, Hashem, I regret what I'm doing, I'm embarrassed of what I did, I will never do it again. The Rambam is editing the Kohen Gadol's prayer for the day-to-day person.
So it began with the Rambam.
Correct. Do you want to do a little bit more? B'makom acher, in another place. Okay, now you have to watch. This is the way Lithuanians study. I brought you a source. I explained it, and then criticized it. I had questions on it. I didn't answer the questions, and you're not going to get an answer yet to the questions. Before I answer the questions, I'm going to bring you another source from somewhere else. Somewhere else that talks about something similar, but not too similar. But similar enough that I can compare it to what we're talking about over here. I'm going to ask questions on that thing over there, and then hopefully by answering the questions in both places, I can reconcile what's going on in the first source. It's called mental gymnastics. Chachmei Sfarad didn't like this so much. They called it perversions of the truth. But to each their own. We're now studying Rav Soloveitchik, so today we're Litvish.
It's kind of like 13 principles that the oral tradition is expanded upon.
Correct. I think that most people, maybe in this room, most people have never had a chance to study like this. It's a different kind of study. Makom acher, in another place, in the laws of sacrifices of the Rambam. Posek HaRambam, the Rambam rules, ki kol korban chay b'vidu. Every sacrifice needs a confession. Kol shemevi ola mitvadeh. Any person who brings an offering must do vidui. Chatat mitvadeh, asham mitvadeh. It doesn't make a difference what they're doing it for. Any offering, they do vidui. Says Rav Soloveitchik, an interesting question. Mahu nosach havidui. What exactly is the text of the confession shel choteh b'shgaga, of a person who sinned unintentionally? Hachayav bekorban chatat, who's obligated in bringing a sin offering, which we mentioned that was the first halakha. Even though it was unintentional, he still brings a sin offering. But what does he say? It was unintentional. Hashem, I did something wrong, I regret it, I'll never do it again. He didn't mean to do this. what text are you going to throw at him? התשובה לשאלה זו היא לכאורה כאן. Rabbi Soloveitchik says the answer to this question apparently is found in our chapter, in the laws of Teshuvah. בהלכות תשובה. כיצד מתוודה? How does he do vidui? המובן לעיל, above. It's the same text. Says you would think that he does the same vidui as is mentioned here in the Rambam. V'ulam, but HaRambam chozer, but the Rambam doesn't say that. He goes umevi shuv nosach shel vidui. He brings a second version of vidui in the chapter on Maaseh HaKorbanot, on sacrifices. V'gam sham hu matchil b'lashon zeh, and he also starts with his language. Ketzad mitvadeh? How does a person do vidui? Omer, he says, chatati, aviti, pashati. I did things wrong. V'asiti kach v'kach, and I did this, and he has to mention what it is that he did wrong. V'chazarti b'teshuvah lefanecha, and I have returned and did teshuvah before you, Hashem. V'zo kaparati, and this is my atonement. This is the same or different than what happened before? It's different. The beginning sounds the same, but the second part of I have done teshuvah and this is my atonement, it's not found in the earlier text.
Reminds me a little bit of what they do
With the chicken?
parot.
With kaparot. This is a very similar nosach.
Kaparati.
This is my atonement. It is the same nosach. Im nashve shtei nuschot el, by the way, come to kaparot. The Rambam doesn't even mention this as a custom of Jews.
Right.
So just so you're familiar with it. Im nashve shtei nuschot elu. If we compare these two texts of vidui, shel vidui, nafchin bekama shinuim chashuvim shesh benehem. We'll find a few distinctions that are very important between them. But nosach harishon, in the first nosach, he says, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati, Lefanecha. I did all these things wrong before you, Hashem. V'ilu b'nosach sheni shvilchot Maaseh HaKorbanot, but in the second source, Hotze halefanecha mikan, he takes the word lefanecha, the word before you, from here. It doesn't say, I did this before you. Mikan v'uvar lemakom acher, we put it in a different place. Where do we put it? I did this wrong. This is what I did wrong, and I have done teshuvah before you. But he's taken the before you from what I did wrong and put the before you to what I did right.
Yeah.
In the teshuvah. You understand? Yeah. So there was the same word before you, lefanecha, but it was moved. In the first text it's after the sin, and here it's after the teshuvah. Kmoken, similarly, hushmat ma'anosach hashnei element Asheni element kabbalah lehaba. He removed from here the element that has to do with I'll never do it again. It doesn't say that here. It says I did teshuvah and this is my atonement. He doesn't say and I will never do it again. ובמקומו מופיעות המילים וזוהי כפרתי, that this is my atonement, שמשמעותן אינה ברורה כל צורכה, and we don't really understand what really does atonement mean. What does it mean, this is my atonement? What is he talking about? We're not really clear. Rabbi Soloveitchik took something that was clear, the Rambam took something which was clear, and he changed it with something a little more vague, a little bit less definable. And therefore, Rabbi Soloveitchik says that we must come to the conclusion that there are two different styles of vidui, two different approaches to teshuvah, two different ways of teshuvah, which may begin to answer our question. Is teshuvah about getting rid of our past, or is teshuvah about uplifting our past? The answer to this question, at least the beginning of the answer to this question, netz achama, when the sun rises, the part that is netz is right when the sun pops up above the horizon. We're still in the dark. It's a little bit clearer. We're still in the dark. We know the question now. The question is, why are there two different viduis? What's the point of them? They're two different words, and they seem very systematic. There's a reason why these words are used in the first one, and a reason why these words are used in the second one. We don't have the answer yet, but the beginning, the gleam of light, the glimmers of light that we're going to find are going to be tomorrow. At the end of Kolov, we're going to talk about what exactly does that mean. So right now, we're going to pray Avit V'Zat Hashem, and we'll discover more about Teshuvah tomorrow.
It looks like the second one is just the first vidui. The second and the third step isn't included.
But he has a different step. He talks about atonement there, which we didn't talk about in the first step. And he mentions Teshuvah. I did Teshuvah. The guy doesn't say that in the first place. He said, I won't do it again, but he doesn't mention Teshuvah.
I have not clear.
It's not clear what's going on here. But Soloveitchik will make it very clear. We'll continue this tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem.